Good evening, my fellow Americans. The State of the Union is not good here in Dbacks land. Why? Dbacks just dropped the fifth straight series against the Dodgers. Not just the Dodgers, a whole bunch of teams. But they lost specifically against the Dodgers, which we all hate because we hate the Dodgers, and I am a straight Dodger hater until the day I die. But to the Dodgers' credit, they showed up. They have a whole bunch of former MVPs on their team, even though one of them might be fraudulent because he might have done steroids. But I don't know. I'm just saying. And one's a gambler. But the D-backs showed up on the one day uh, when the bees came to town because why not, right? There's nothing like freaking Phoenix best and brightest nightclub is Chase Field because why not? This season sucks as it is, but we got freaking bees because why not? The bees showed up and then we had and made a hero out of some guy from freaking Blue Sky Pest Control because we have nothing better to do this season than to complain about the losses because this team, despite going to the World Series last year, is now 14-18. They have dropped five straight series and they're looking like a shell of their former selves. Everyone keeps saying, hey, they'll be better once the injuries, people come back from the injuries. Will they? I love Alec and I love Perdomo, but they don't have the same type of bats as Otani or Mookie. So when they come back, we'll see. There's also been a ton of injuries with Merrill. With man, it's looking like a hospital ward on Pearl Harbor. Like this team is depleted. We're being tested. I'm exhausted of watching this team over and over, game after game, night after night, watching Lovello make the same mistakes over and over again with his misuse of the bullpen, bringing in guys who shouldn't be on this team, and then not giving Mr. freaking Blaze Alexander the respect that he deserves and playing him every day. And so the vibes are just off, man. I don't even want to do the State of the Union. But yeah, I have to because I am the president of D-backs land. So we can pass it on to Brett later on for his own rant.
Yeah, so this is actually going to be somewhat of a little positive twist on a rant. I want to give my flowers to all the D-backs fans that showed out for this year's against the Dodgers. I know at the beginning of the season, I made a whole thing about how we needed to actually show up, needed to actually, fill in the stadium, can't be bitched out of our own stadium. And yes, again, like the Yankees, like the Dodgers normally, there were a lot of Dodger fans, but it was really good to see. There was a lot of red. There was a lot of, I don't do it, but a lot of booing Mookie Betts and Otani and the other Dodgers when they're coming up. There's a lot of let's go D-backs chants, trying to battle with the let's go Dodgers chants. So, at least want to say tip of the cap to all the Diamondbacks fans that did make their way out there. Even for that game that all three of us were at yesterday, it was not fun pretty much from the second inning on. But there's still a really good amount of D-backs fans that stuck it all the way through. So, really, really proud to see that.
Forgot. I had muted myself, so let me unmute myself. Everyone, welcome to D-Backs Dispatch. Brett, Gabe, and Brandon. Brett and Gabe. I don't care. It doesn't look in the order. Welcome to the Dodgers recap. Things were a buzzin' in this series for sure. The Diamondbacks. It was an interesting series. I will just go ahead and say that. Lost another series. They're 1-9 in series openers. They've lost 9 series openers in a row. That right now, that has me a little concerned. Because losing the first game of the series, it sets the tone for the rest of the series. So it does have me a little worried, but we still have a long season to go. I'm really worried about Corbin. I have been thinking about should they send him down? I've really started thinking about it. I'm 95% no, that's stupid. It's not gonna work. But I'm there's the 5% of me what if it does? It's just one of those things where maybe, but with Alec out, No, I'm not. I don't. I just can't. I just can't. Like I keep going back and forth with it. Like should they? Should they not? But there's a lot of rookies that have a great first year that struggle in their sophomore season. It's the reason why it's called a sophomore slump, because it happens to almost every player that has a spectacular rookie season. These teams make adjustments. Carroll just has to adjust back, which there are signs occasionally that he is doing that. He still swings at the first base way too much. Him and Gurriel, they need to stop. Stop swinging at the first pitch. I beg you, stop swinging at the first pitch.
I feel like Gurriel has like sometimes the exact opposite of the issue. Is he'll be standing there and he just gets a fastball right down the middle and he just watches it the entire way, just right into the catcher's glove. Is like, yep, that's a strike. I'm like, I'm not a professional hitter, but like you cannot get any more on a tee. And like if there's one person swing.
Yeah, but that's they're trying to track it. Like he has to see the movement on that fastball in case he wants to see it again, so he can recognize it the next time. But
I totally. It's just funny seeing like every single time, just the way he does it. Mostly, it's like he's literally like watching it, like staring at this close from his face. He's like, I'm gonna watch that into the glove.
Yeah, but with Corbin, the results aren't there yet. But he's hitting a lot of balls straight to defenders, but he's hitting them hard. Like even yesterday, he had that 105-mile-per-hour ground out. Like I think he's coming around a bit, especially with the amount of contact he's hitting and just the amount of like power that he's getting on a lot of those line drives and stuff that are straight to defenders. And he almost had a home run after he hit a double and everything, but just because the Chase Field wall laughs at your 420-foot bomb, like it doesn't care that how hard you hit it. So I do think that he's going to come around. I don't think it's time to hit the panic button on him. Might have to hit the panic button on this whole team, honestly, because the whole runners in scoring position. I mean, we've been getting shut out left and right. It's either getting shut out or we score one run. And like I said, like Perdomo and Alec are not going to change that. So
no,
there has to be some sort of change. I don't know what it is. I don't think they should fire Mather. I mean, but this is the team that was super patient last year and was hitting really well in the first couple months of the season, and they've just disappeared. Like I don't get it. I truly don't get it. They're looking like they don't even want to like be there sometimes. Like, they're not even trying or something. Like I don't know what it is. Seems like the vibes are messed up, and who knows, maybe because Perdomo and Alec are out, maybe that's what it is. Maybe they just need their vibe guys back or something. Corbin needs his boy. Like maybe that's it. I don't know.
I've been kind of thinking that a little bit with Perdomo and Alec being out. Perdomo mostly just because we know what like he can give you. He's gonna give you a really quality at bat. Like I'd say at least 9 times out of 10. Most of the time, it's gonna get close to a full count. And having that kind of like you don't have to have that guesswork at somebody who can somewhat consistently at least get on base and roll over to the top of your lineup. And I'm not saying, Kevin Newman, especially in the last few weeks, he's actually been one of the guys that every now and then will have a hit, will have something clutch happen. But I just feel like that big difference of, what Kevin Newman provides for you at the plate versus what Geraldo Perdomo provides for you. And again, not only at the plate, but just especially in the field. We've seen it with, Corbin Carroll and the defensive things in center field since Alec is gone. Maybe you could feel those pitchers don't really have that same confidence when a fly ball's hit to center field, and it could be the same when a ground ball's hit to shortstop. Blaze barely or almost threw away the first ball that he got hit yesterday. It could be something about Domo that and Alec too, that just having them in the lineup, kind of like with when we got Paul Sewald last year, where it let the rest of the lineup like shift into place. He fills that little back gap in the lineup to where there's not, holes. There's not just that obvious, like, oh, this guy's going to probably be out 8 times out of 10. And if he does get a hit, we're throwing a damn parade.
I mean, the lineup does feel a lot weaker without them there, because when you're going down the lineup, even with the struggles and everything, you see it and you're like, oh, there's no real easy out when Alec and Perdomo are there, because even if they ground out or whatever, they still put up good at bats, which is something that they really needed because they just haven't put up great at bats. They go up there, swing at the first pitch, and like Yamamoto yesterday, he pitched 6 innings because they just kept swinging at the first pitch. So the first pitch or the second pitch that they will swing to, and it's just like we got to take more than just a couple pitches, man. Like I know he's not going to give you much to work with, but like you got to try at least make him work a little bit because in that 6 inning he like fell out of control once he reached 85 pitches, and it's like that's where you want to get him to, and then you had a couple guys on, they swing at the first pitch, and it's an automatic out, and it's like he's and like it's just frustrating to watch, and that's what I mean when I was talking about Joe Mather. Like, is it him? Is it just the strategy that they come up with? Like, I truly don't understand why they're doing that. Why they're giving up such easy outs? Because last year they didn't. They, even the year before when they first got Mather, and like they walked so much that like if you look at their splits, they were like, they're like 10 games under 500, but still they were like, number one in walks and like number 30 in strikeouts or whatever. They hadn't hit home runs or anything, but they have no patience at all. Like I truly don't understand this team anymore, and I don't know when they'll like come back to what we knew them as. If they'll come back, like it's early. I know it's early, but
it's May 2nd.
It's May 2nd, and they're 5 games outside of the division, and they're like 4 games outside of the wild card. Like, I know it's early. A lot of these teams are rolling, and they are not, and they have injuries. It's not like just the D-backs only have injuries. All these other teams are injured. The Dodgers have 2 starting pitchers.
Yeah. So, we'll just have to wait and see here. Game 1, we end up losing 8-4. The only real notable thing from this game for me was Andrew Saalfrank could not throw a strike to save his life in the 5th inning. And because of that, got sent down to Reno. I don't know if Saalfrank is good or not. Like, that's my thing, is in the month of September, yeah, he was really good. But then he has these outings like this where he keeps throwing his curveball and it's a non-competitive pitch. Like, it's nowhere near the strike zone. I don't know if it's a confidence thing with him when he's up here, like, or what, but I really don't want to see him back up here for a while because if you look at his numbers in Reno, like, he does well in Reno, and then he comes back up here and he shits the bed. So I don't like, he should be our top lefty. I think his ceiling is better than Mantiply, and I'll get into Mantiply later because what he did on Tuesday, it boggles my mind. That inning, like, that was some of the weirdest things that I've ever seen a pitcher do. But just some notable stats from the game. Blaze had 3 walks, so I thought that was fairly interesting. Gurriel went 1 for 5.
Spot, right?
Yeah,
from the leadoff
spot. He was leading off on Monday. Walker had an RBI. Suarez had an RBI. Carroll, I think, Carroll had a hit. So I believe Carroll's on a 3-game hit streak. So there's some progress. So definitely go ahead and take that. Try pitching to Freddie Freeman, Shohei and Freddie Freeman on Hall of Fame difficult. I mean, I can do it. I won't be as bad as Andrew Saalfrank, but that's a video game. That's not real life. So, yeah. Gabe, what are your thoughts just overall on game 1?
I honestly don't remember game 1 at this point. It feels like it was so long ago. Like, yeah, like especially with the B game and everything, like that took up so much of like everybody's attention that I honestly forgot that game happened. Who pitched? Oh, okay, now I remember. Yeah, so Tommy Henry. I want to talk about Tommy real quick. Suppose he was taken out because of fatigue or whatever, and then they sent him down. I'm like, man, that's got to be a kick to the nuts, right? Like he had retired 8 of 9 Dodgers. He was cruising. Dan Lavello takes him out while he's in control of the game, and then he puts in Saul
So
Frank, and
Tommy
then they
told
just
him to
completely
take
lose
him
the
out.
game.
Tommy,
Yeah,
after he pitched in the fourth, told him he's like, I got nothing.
yeah, but I
So
mean, he didn't tell him to send him down to Reno the day after, which sucks. I
he didn't
mean,
send him down. It was probably a mutual decision between Hazen and Tori.
yeah, but I mean, he's been pretty good his last few
It's been
starts.
decent, yeah.
So yeah, so I don't know what it was that they saw, or maybe they just want to get a couple of other guys up just to give them a chance while there's so many injuries going on right now. But yeah, I mean, Blaze getting 3 walks out of the leadoff spot, like you might have to start a conversation about who we have leading off because since Carroll, has been struggling, Marte, like it's been kind of a dead spot right there. Other than when Marte would lead off, he usually gets on base. Um, but yeah, it's just Saul Frank. He's just been completely night and day with him from last year to this year, especially during the playoffs too. But when we saw him in the playoffs, I mean, it was him who loaded the bases, right?
Saul
Then
Frank, yeah.
Ryan Thompson, yeah. So we've
No, that
seen
was
this
Ryan
before.
Nelson, the one against the Brewers. That was Nelson.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, I thought it was Saul Frank lower, and then
He did it against the Dodgers, I believe. The
so it
one,
wasn't when
the one
Ryan
against the
Thompson came
Brewers in the
in.
wild card game, that was Ryan Nelson that came in, and then Tea Time came in and got
The double
the
play with
line drive.
Longoria. Okay, okay, then yeah. I mean, we've seen him load up the bases and everything. Like he just threw so many uncompetitive pitches, and it was just frustrating to watch. And it just when the game gets away like that, like we complain about the offense, but when the bullpen and even the starting pitching doesn't do their job, and they put him in a hole that early, then I mean, you can't expect this team to score 8 runs suddenly. They don't have the same firepower as the Dodgers.
No. I mean, occasionally they'll do it where they'll have like a 5-run 5th inning, and it's like comes out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden they don't score for 3 or 4. Like they get like 2 runs in like 3 straight games. Like I don't understand. Like it's the one thing that is just baffling me this year with them is that they will have those games where they score. Then they'll have like an entire series where they do absolutely nothing. Like I don't know what it is. So it's one thing that I was like, I would rather you do it consistently over doing just one big game. Like I don't want to see a 15-1, win 6-1, and then get those other 9 runs over the next 3 or 4 games. I'm fine with that because you'll probably win more of those than you would lose. So, yeah, game 1 was game 1 was like it. I think the big story was like everyone was like, why'd they yank Tommy out? Like he was doing really well. We find out after the game and over the next couple of days, basically he told Tori like he was really tired, like he was really fatigued. He had nothing left, so Tori took him out. And that's one thing that we won't know in the moment, and then everyone judges Tori for it.
He was also, I know, Gabe, you said I think retired like 8 of 9. So he definitely was like outswise cruising, but because I was watching the game on the treadmill, like on my game day, he was laboring. It seemed like there was a lot of, 0 strikeouts it was in that at bat, or in that game is what it was. Dodgers had
but
0
he had
strikeouts.
72 through 4. That's quite a lot of pitches.
That's what I'm saying. Like he had especially I think in the first he had like 20 alone. I think maybe the third he had another long inning. So he was just the Dodgers being the Dodgers, man. Like their plate discipline is insane. They don't swing and miss a lot. And just when they're reading you, especially Tommy Henry isn't like an overpowering guy. Like that's why I personally I wasn't, I guess, too surprised with him taking out Tommy, just with him having, laboring a little bit the third time coming up in the order, I could already see him hanging a curveball to Ohtani, having an exact repeat of what happened last year when Ohtani faced Henry. The ball going almost 500 feet, and then we're just instantly like, well, what the heck, Tor? Why'd you leave him in to face them a third time? So,
see, that's the thing that frustrates me about fans is, as a manager, after the fact, people are going to cruise. It's like, oh my gosh, that worked. You're a genius. Had that not worked, y'all would have crucified him. It's a no-win scenario for a manager. Because in the moment, people are gonna react the way that they normally do, Brett. Because you are like spur of the moment, Mr. Reaction. Like it is, and to be honest, a lot of people are that way. Like they don't think, they just, oh, it's up here. Let me go ahead and say what I'm.
I will admit, I don't call for Tori's job.
No,
Like,
you don't go that far. And I don't think I've seen a lot of that so far this year, like fire Tori so far. But there are probably people that are thinking it, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I've been seeing a little bit more frustration directed at Tori, which like it's warranted. Like I've said
Yeah,
before,
he does make like
there's
it's
certain
not
moves
that
that he
not.
makes. Is there certain moves that he's always made that like where I want the answer as to why he did them, and then people on Twitter get mad because I'm like, why did he do that? And then they're like, oh, I think he knows more than you, blah blah blah. I'm like, why doesn't he tell us? Like with Henry, they sent him down to Reno. He might, since he was fatigued, like we didn't know that. He said it like until like almost like the day after that he had some fatigue in his shoulder. So it's like, okay, like I get it. I see why he took him out now. Same with Jace Peterson in the playoffs when he took out Tommy Pham. We're like, this dude is like 5 for 5. Why did you take him out? And
Because
then
Tommy
like came
told him
out
to.
a whole like way later when we found out, it's like, oh yeah, we took him out because he wanted to let Jace, because Tommy Pham turns out he's a really good guy and he wanted Jace to get in that bad like in the playoffs and stuff. But it's stuff like that where I'm like, I want to know why, because Tori most of the time just says we like the numbers, we like this guy in our position. Why? There's times where it's like he'll put in a lefty against like a certain righty or whatever, or he'll like do supposed matches, and it's like, why him? Like, why take out Blaze for this guy? Why take out this? Why substitute Moreno for this? And it's just like it's so much stuff where I think a lot of fans are getting a little impatient with him not saying what's going on, which I understand, but still, it's like maybe some people need to ask more pressing questions or something. I really don't know.
Yeah. I just think a lot of media don't like to ask somewhat difficult questions because a lot of them are nervous about losing their access.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks. Like, but I'm like, that's your job. Is you're like, because you have that access, you can ask that question that us fans and content creators can't ask.
Yeah, like there's definitely a line of like going where you're, attacking a guy, making it personal, but there's also like a, hey, I feel like as a reporter and manager, there's got to be that mutual understanding. Like, hey, this is his job, just like any other job. If if you're questioned on it, hopefully you have some reasonable, not excuses, but reasoning behind it, and not just like, oh, I don't know what I was doing. I just kind of like made the call randomly. It's like, okay, like that's not no. So there's definitely a line, but I do wish, especially in Arizona, I wish some of the harder questions were asked a little bit more often.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. So let's go ahead and move to game 2, which we're all just, it's the B game. Like, it's going to be the B game. The game was delayed 1 hour and 55 minutes. First pitch was supposed to be at 6:40. It didn't start till 8:35. Latest start ever in Chase Field history, by the way. Latest the game has ever started. So I thought that was a very interesting stat. And this man got his 15 minutes. It's actually probably closer to 30 minutes of fame right now. So Blue Sky, was it Blue Sky Pest Control?
Pest control, yeah.
They're probably getting all sorts of business over the last few days because if you were watching, like they said it numerous times. Todd Walsh said it numerous times. So he was, oh, that's an interesting name. Let me go look it up. Oh, pest stuff. Yeah, let me go ahead and do that. And they're all like, yes.
Mad
No,
respect for him leaving his. He said he left his kids t-ball game or whatever. I'm like,
Yes,
that's a real dedication. He said, "F them kids." Like this matters more. He's a real
and
like.
the interesting
He's for the
thing
boys.
is, this wasn't just some lackey worker. This was like a manager. So they're like,
Yeah.
we need someone who like the Democrats like, we need someone that can do this and do it right and quickly so that we can get our game started. Like I thought that was interesting when I found out like he's like he's like a manager. I was like, oh, okay. So they're like, please, someone who knows what they're doing, get this fixed facts so we can start our game. Yeah, this game was interesting. This was the Christian Walker game for me. Multi-home run game. He's starting to hit the ball out a lot late. Like I was worried there because he only had like 3 or 4 homers. I'm like, Christian, we need more power from you. And he did it very well in this game. He's been walking. Like he is taking his walks because he knows who's behind him. It's either going to be Jock, Suarez, Moreno, Grichuk. Like, so he knows there's guys behind him. It's like, I mean, I'll try, but I'm not going to force the issue. Like, if the pitch isn't there, I'm just going to take my walk, get on base, and let the guys behind me do something. And I think he's starting to realize that. This has been another thing that I've never understood that's been going on with Christian for like 4 years. Everybody pitches him high inside. Like he gets beamed so much. And I'm just like, why Christian? Like he's a good fastball hitter. Why would you do that? Like if you miss, you're gonna get hurt. So I was really happy to see that for Christian in this game.
Yeah, he's been looking really, really good. He's been more locked in. I've mentioned it before that I would love to have him as leadoff. I mean, I believe these 2 home runs came off with him leading the inning too.
So extra inning, like
he's still leading off an inning. That's what I'm saying. Leading off an inning. That's what I want him to do. Especially with them taking his walks. I mean, this is something we haven't really seen from either Marte or even Carroll at the beginning of the year, where they don't really walk too much. Walker, I mean, he doesn't run as fast, but I mean, he's like a better Schwarber, I think. So he's a guy who's going to have like a 400 on base, when all said and done almost. So put him in the leadoff to worry. Stop being a coward. Like, let's do this. Let's just jumpstart the offense.
Yeah.
Yes, a Walker. For any of you, baseball savant sluts. If you like to see dark red, he not only his fielding percentage, he's in the 98th percentile. His xWOBA is in the 98th percentile. His barrel percentage 98th percentile. Walk percentage 93. Obviously, you didn't need me to tell you this. His outs above average range 99th percentile. Like the only thing he has in blue when it comes to hitting is his whiff percentage, which he's just a little bit below the league average. He's in the 46th percentile, and then actual strike percentage, he's even lower when it comes to league average. He's at like 36.
Which those two you don't want to be at the league average.
Exactly.
You want to be below it. If you want to see the complete opposite, go look at Corbin Carroll's baseball savant page. It's literally
or just keep yourself in a good, happy state of mind and don't do that. Because that is a depressing page.
I was going to bring this up. The Gabby base running mishap, but let's let's just go to that inning. So this at bat by Gabby was phenomenal. He fouled off 3 or 4 really good pitches, and he does his thing, which Steve calls Gabby Lane, which is literally just goes the other way, right where the second baseman is supposed to be. Like if the second baseman plays what he's supposed to, it's an out. So Gabby hits it the other way, drives in the tying run. So we're tied there in the 8th. Couple batters later, Corbin comes up, and this is his first, for me, that I can remember, hard hit ball. And Gabby, right here, what are you doing? Gabby, what are you? It was
driving. How many outs there were? I think that's all it was. Because I'm like, I don't see any reason why he was looking at all. Because it was 2 outs. As soon as the ball, doesn't matter if it's a fly ball or
fair or foul, yeah,
doesn't matter. You run with your head down, and then you look at your third base coach. Like this is, and then he's just looking to the side. I'm like, what is he doing? Like, and then Perez Chica, I think he might have been out if he kept going, maybe. But I think when the game was this close, I mean, you had to send them too. But it was such a strange play.
Yeah, I do. I'm like, Gabby, why are you looking over your shoulder? That's what Perez Chicas is for. He will tell you. Like, I didn't even think about. I think you're right. I think he forgot there were 2 outs. And I don't remember seeing any quotes that anyone asked him about it after the game. That would have been something nice to ask. Like, so Gabby, on that Corbin Carroll double, like, what happened there? Like, why didn't you score?
I could see them genuinely being too caught up in everything going on with the B game, all that, and then the walk-off. I would imagine that that was not even on the top 5 of lists of things that they were going to talk about. So I agree. I would have liked them to, or would have liked to hear what was going on. I would assume it probably is him just forgetting what outs there were.
Luckily, it didn't cause them to lose the game because Christian decided in the 10th inning, you know what? We've been here long enough. We had an almost 2-hour delay. Let me go ahead and walk us off. His first career, I don't know if his first career walk-off hit or first career walk-off home run.
I think first career walk-off in general.
So good, fantastic job there for Christian. Like if there's a handful of guys that you want up in that spot to have a walk-off, and I think Gabe put it in our group chat, after the top of the 10th, you're like, Carroll walk-off home run. And then Walker was like, you were half right. All he got was a walk-off win. I'll take it. I don't care who does it. So yeah, I think Christian's power is starting to come around. So that's good.
Also, look at the pitch Carroll. Too. That wasn't even a competitive pitch that he threw out. That thing was inside was a changeup, I believe, or it's not a changeup than a slider. Like that shouldn't have been hit as far as it was. I know the pitcher's making go more this side or whatever, but it looks like he's doing a jerk off motion for some reason, to Walker. It looks like he's just doing that instead. But I mean, Walker, just to be able to get that ball and turn on it the way he did and keep it fair, he's really been on one lately, and it's good to see because when guys are locked in, any ball anywhere near the zone is going to be hit for a home run.
When that ball was Nabil Chrismat threw that changeup into him, he just
changeup, yeah.
The lights in Walker's eyes turned off, quickly turned back on. Clayton Kershaw was on the mound, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I know what to do. That's easy."
Yeah. So good job there, Christian. I want to talk about in this game. Dodgers score a run on a wild pitch, on a what the hell balk by Mantiply, and a sac fly. That has got to be the most weirdly unique ways to score a run, and it's the I guess you could say small ball version, but the one that boggles my mind the most is the balk. It's an ugly balk. I'm like, Mantiply, what are you doing? It's let me pull my glove out and my gun, and what was also weird, on the same at bat in the wild pitch, he strikes out Ohtani on a really good changeup. He gets Ohtani way out in front. So it's just like you had to throw the wild pitch. Like it wasn't one of those ones where like you feel like Gabby could have gotten no. That thing was just like no chance for Gabby. Like we all know how good Gabby is. No shot in hell for Gabby on that one.
Yeah, it's kind of like the meme I posted on the Twitter. Like, I didn't know how to lose this game, so I just got you this balk. It's like they're like the bullpen was pretty damn good this game. Like, and it just seemed like it was one of those things where it's like, all right, fine, damn, here we go again. Like, they're gonna find just some BS way to lose this game. And luckily they didn't, but still, it was one of those things where it's like you can't make these sort of mistakes. It's like you struck out Otani, you had him, go 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Mookie Betts looking like playoff Mookie Betts in those first 2 games, and it's like you almost had them right there, and still they just couldn't get past like these weird mental mistakes this game, which in the end didn't cost them because they won. But it's still like a lot of these struggles with the bullpen, the base running, the mental errors, like they're still around, and they just, I don't know, maybe they're just getting too into their heads or something. I really don't know.
Bullpen actually did really well in this game. We had a bullpen game. Jordan Montgomery was supposed to start, but due to the delay, I think they made the right decision of not having him, because he went through all his pregame stuff, his pregame warm up, and then like 10 minutes before is when that bee colony decided to join Chase Field, and he had to sit for 2 hours, and I think they made the right decision to not try and get him up to be ready to go again in this game. So we got newly called up Brandon Hughes. Fantastic job at 1 inning. Jarvis went 3 innings, 1 hit, 4 Ks. Phenomenal job. Justin Martinez had 2 walks. Still, that command is not there. We had then Mantiply, and then our 2 phenomenal relievers, Ryan Thompson and Kevin Ginkel. Dbacks Staten and Phil put out a tweet about how well they are doing. Like it just sucks because we're usually losing, so we can't use them. Like they are without a doubt our high leverage guys. Like they are phenomenal high leverage guys. But when you're losing, you don't want to burn them, because what if you have some games in the next couple of days that you do need them? That's why typically I think Torrey only uses those 2 and like tied or we're up because he wants to hold the lead. And then Scott McGuff, who had 2 walks. Scott McGuff. Oh my God, Scott McGuff. I can't. But what other options do we have? Like everyone says, send it. I was like, who do you bring up? Like who do you replace Scott McGuff with? That's my thing. I'm like, if I don't want to hear you complain unless you have a suggestion. It's something that I learned at work. They're like, I don't want to hear you complain unless you have a solution. Which I'm like, actually, that's probably pretty true, because it just gets annoying. It sounds like children. So I don't think McGuff is that good, but I don't know who in Reno or AA you bring up that won't be just as worse. It's the same thing with Castro. Like, who do you like? You're gonna have to sign someone and have them start in Reno for a couple of weeks before they probably bring them up, or you make a trade. You make a trade for an established arm, which we saw them do today, because we got just awful news that Merrill was going on the 60-day, which I thought was coming, because I thought they weren't going to really evaluate him till June 1st, as me and Brett were talking about that last night at the game. I think, Brett, you said like August. I think you're right now.
Yeah, I think, because I even remember, like, again, I'm not a doctor. I can't, like, probably like a lot of us, when I hear an injury with the player, I kind of like let Google somewhat tell me like a time frame. Said 3 months. Seems like it's probably going to be 3 months. Like with how they're trying to.
Probably.
especially with the whole Erod situation and Tori admitting that they wish they would have slow rolled that one instead of them trying to get him back as fast. I totally see them borderline just shutting down Merrill Kelly for at least a month, and then after that going like, what do we need to do to evaluate this? Do we need surgery? Do we need to go in another step further? And the fact that he's already had thoracic outlet syndrome surgery, like I hope whatever it is just them being extra precautionary, because we need Merrill back, man. We need Merrill back for the hopeful playoff, push and run that we'll have.
I mean, you could, if you want to think of this in a positive way, when we do get him back, it's like we're making a trade deadline deal for a really good starting pitcher. If you want to think about it, because by the time we get him back, it will probably be around August 1st, which is around the trade deadline. And it's almost like we are acquiring a new pitcher that we didn't have for 2 months.
Yeah, but I also don't want it to be like the only move that they do, like with how bad this bullpen is. I don't want it to be, August 1st, and then Mike Hazen's like, we did make a move. We got Merrill Kelly back. And I'm like, yeah, but we didn't fix the bullpen issues or the stagnant offense.
So, yeah. Brett, you brought it up with Kelly having thoracic outlet syndrome. Kyle Nelson has it as well. And he's gonna have surgery, so he's probably he's out for a while too. So that's there are probably some people say, "Oh, that's not a major loss." I think it is. I think Kyle Nelson is one of our more consistent. Now he does have outings where he just completely blows up, but I think he's more consistent than McGuff and Castro. And
he also got multiple innings.
Yes, that's the big thing with him for me, is that he can get you 6 outs if need be. Like say you have someone only go 4 1/3 or 4 2/3, he can bridge that gap to get you to the 7th. That's the big thing for him. So I think there's a couple of guys that are going to need to step up. Jarvis for sure. Bryce Jarvis is going to have to step up for sure to kind of fill that, I guess you could say, long relief role. And I hope Justin Martinez is able to take advantage. I feel like they have a short leash on him. Like when he struggles for one outing, they send him down. So I would like them to see him, give him a couple of weeks and see what he does up here. Maybe not put him in a lot of high leverage situations. Let him get his confidence up, because that fastball splitter combo, when he's on, is almost unhittable. It's like Class A and Duran, good. He could, and I've said it before, if he gets that command and control in hand, he is our closer. Without it, I still think 2020. I initially said 2025, maybe. I'm thinking maybe 2026. He's our full-time closer. But I think he needs time up here to see these major league hitters, because he dominates in Reno. So I think it's a confidence thing for him. So we'll see. I want them to. Oh, Josh with the comedic relief.
We need that, Josh. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want him to be given a real chance. Now, if he has several bad outings in a row, obviously send him down. But I don't want them to see he has one bad outing, send him down, because that's typically what they've been doing with him. Is they'll bring him up for 3 days, he has a bad outing, and they send him back down. I think he needs more consistent opportunities. So we'll wait and see there. Moving on to just a shit show. Game 3, Jordan Montgomery. He goes 1-2-3 in the first. It was great. I was like, oh, let's go. This is going to be a pitcher's duel. Then the second inning happened. And Jesse Freeman, PHNX, had an interesting tweet. Every big-time notable free agent pitcher signing that the Diamondbacks have done over the last 4 years, first home start, exact same thing happens. It just doesn't go well.
I will say this is what I was talking about earlier about the confusing decisions that Torrey makes. They had him go yesterday. I'm like, why not let Gallen go? And I know they supposedly have their reasons, but it's like Jordan Montgomery is a starter. He's not meant to go every other day or the day after. He was ready to go yesterday. He was literally ready to start pitching, and then they delayed the game. So literally, they always talk about these guys get there at 12 p.m. and during that time they're stretching, they're warming up, they're doing short toss, long toss, then actual starting to work in the bullpen, game plan, and everything. And he was ready to go yesterday. So I'm like, he's probably thrown anywhere from 50 to 100 pitches from yesterday to today. And I don't know why they expected him to go out there and dominate yesterday. I don't get it. He's clearly going to be exhausted, from all that throwing. He's not a reliever. I'm like, they don't even let Ginkgo go, 2 days in a row. So why the hell would Montgomery do any better like that? He hasn't done that since he was probably in high school.
So according to Torrey's logic, they wanted to give Gallen more rest. And Montgomery was the only one that was really on normal rest.
Yeah,
it's the main reason.
It definitely, because me and Brandon were talking about it at the game last night. We were in agreement that the getting ramped up, like you're saying, Gabe, literally 2 minutes before first pitch and he's ready to go. He's already done all those stretches and his warm-ups. He is there to then cool down. And again, it wasn't even it's not a weather delay where you can kind of go, oh yeah, in 30, 40 minutes this will pass. So he can kind of know, oh cool, I'm probably not going to be pitching. I'm good now. Where who knows, maybe in that hour and a half, almost 2 hour long delay, because they didn't know exactly what was happening. Maybe he did try to stay warm, throw a few extra, 5-10 pitches every few minutes in the bullpen to stay warm. I don't know. I think that extra getting warm, cooling back down, and then going back out the next day definitely affected him. I know he even said in his post-game interview, he's like, I'm not going to make any excuses. I wasn't good. Just things weren't working as they should have been. But I believe in that same thing. He talked about how for that B game, that delay, he was feeling so good in that bullpen that he ended that early. To where that's it's that one little decision. I mean, not little, that one decision just to, have him go on Gallen start. Again, I kind of, even at the time, I was like, I get it. I would rather have Gallen have an extra day just to make sure he's good. Monty was already there. He's ready. I'd rather see Monty pitch. In hindsight, we know it sucks that it turned out the way it did. But I even going into it last night, I was genuinely really excited to see a Monty and Yamamoto pitching duel.
We got it for 1 inning.
Yeah.
I think Montgomery only went 3 innings, right?
I think, yeah.
3 innings, 6 earned. His ERA went from 2 to 6. he tripled his ERA, but it's because he doesn't have a lot of innings. So yeah, it's gonna skyrocket real fast.
The thing that the game last night too that I wanted to mention that was funny is I don't know if you caught it, Brandon, but we're sitting there. It's in the second inning. He lets that leadoff batter get on. Andy Pajes, I believe Pajes, if I'm mispronouncing that. Yeah, Pajes. He steps up, and I believe the fans behind us, they were like, oh, who's this random Pajes guy? It's the Dodgers. The Dodgers go out there and they spend hundreds of $millions to get, good players. You would think that they would have somebody that they could just call up to replace this guy. What is this? Not even 30 seconds later, home run. 2-run home run.
So that was a great hit by Pajes because that was 3 inches at the bottom of the zone. So it wasn't a bad pitch. It was just a fantastic hit.
Yeah, it's like the Walker home run.
I almost wanted to turn around. And I'm like, Will Smith is homegrown talent. James Outman is homegrown talent. Pajes is homegrown talent. You could say Max you could kind of say Max Muncy was.
Bueller, Clayton Kershaw.
I'm like, this is why you can't talk ball with casuals, because they're only doing like now, and like they haven't been following for a decade, and they know. Yes, they did buy Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, Yamamoto, but that's to be honest, a very small percentage of theirs. But no, Yamamoto still has not given up a run on the road. I hate to say it, but he looked like he was dominating this entire game. So yeah, it was not that's my biggest fear out of going to sporting events is the team that I'm rooting for gets blown out. Like I did it not this season, but last season's playoff for the Suns when they lost to Denver by like 30. I was at that game. I'm like, no, it's the worst feeling in the world when you go and it's not even competitive.
Yeah, that's why when people ask me like why don't I don't bet or gamble, I'm like that's why. Like I gamble every time I go watch the D-backs for the Suns. Like I'm spending 35, 45. This last season, I went to go see him when they played against the Spurs. I spent like $130 to take my parents, and I was like, I paid this much money to watch them lose. Like I was so pissed off. I mean, I saw Wemby, so I mean that was fun, but yeah, it's just like yesterday. Like I sat down. I got there a little late just because how much traffic there was. But the moment I sat down, they were losing like 4-0. I'm like, I paid $45 for this. Like, I want to go home already. Like, why am I even here?
That was I couldn't tell if that was you or Brett that tweeted that.
Yes, I also not gonna lie. I'd rather have like my heart ripped out, but still have hope throughout the entire game.
Yeah,
like something to keep me on the edge. Something to cheer for. Like, it's not even like the D-backs. Like, they didn't even score like anything. The offense was just dead from the beginning to end, from start to finish. Like,
no, not true. Jock had 3 hits.
Sorry, Jock had 3 hits, but other than
Jock had 3 hits.
And because we even talked about it yesterday, do you know how many double plays this team has already grounded into?
Too many.
So this team has already grounded into where is it? I just literally just had the stat. I think it's 28.
In 32 games.
28 ground balls, double plays. I believe Gorilla has at least a few of them. And then because I was going through and doing some stat combing, the Dbacks in late and close games. So I believe Jesse on the PHNX show ended up talking about how the D-backs against high leverage and late inning relievers struggle. That's where all their offensive numbers are inflated, and why they're like this top 5, top 10 offensive team is because they really shit on the garbage pitchers that are just in there just to eat innings, but they can't make it, happen when it counts. They are the 27th ranked team in average. They're hitting 184 in late to close game situations. It's terrible. Their on base percentage is 288. They have a 309 slugging in those late innings. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and like I wanted to mention real quick because you're talking about how the offense was dead. The offense wasn't completely dead. They had 7 hits and 5 walks. That's 12 base runners that they had yesterday. That's a lot to not score any of them. And they were 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. It's the same pattern. I'm like, it's the same crap every day. Like
10 runners.
It literally just feels like that. Yeah, so I'm like, it's they're not getting 3 hits or whatever. It's not like they're completely getting dominated. Like I said, they had a few runners on for Yamamoto, and like they made him work a little bit every once in a while, every other inning. And they just didn't do anything with it. It was just little comebackers straight back to him, which also he almost died twice, like in the span of a week, because it was that like 110-mile-per-hour ball that he caught, and then yesterday with whose bat was it that like smashed and like almost stabbed him? I'm like, damn, like somebody.
So yeah, it was like a hard ground ball right at him. That's where the ball went, and then the bat flew over his head. I'm like, the bat went farther than the ball.
Like, somebody get him an L screen. Like, holy crap, he almost died like twice. Like, it was crazy. Like, poor guy. But yeah, I mean, they had their chances. They just didn't do anything with them, which is what we've seen. like yesterday, same thing too. They got runners on, and it was first pitch swinging, or it was ground out to double play, and it just kills any momentum. And like at least like I said, Carroll, I feel like he's coming around. I don't think we're too far off. I think in 2 weeks from now, mark it down. What day is it today? It is May 2nd, right?
Yeah.
May 2nd at 10:26 p.m. I'm saying it in 2 weeks from now, we're going to be like, oh, we had nothing to worry about with Corbin Carroll. He's back. What did it do, baby?
I hope so.
I hope so, man. Fingers crossed for it, man. I need it like I need my asthma medication.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, we end up losing that series. So we have another divisional foe coming into Chase Field this weekend. The San Diego Padres come into town. Like they're playing very similar to us. Like they'll have a couple games where they look really good, and then they have a few where their offense doesn't show up. But they don't have the injury bug as bad as we do.
Yeah.
Because they did just get Darvish back. So matchups are Cease versus Slade Ciccone on Friday. Saturday is Michael King versus Brandon Pfaadt. And Sunday is Waldron versus apparently Ryan Nelson, which I know Tori said Sunday could be Nelson or Gallen. He did say Gallen's probably Sunday or Tuesday because I think we have an off day on Monday. Yeah, we have an off day on Monday. So he said Gallen's either Sunday or Tuesday.
Monday off day. I'm sorry. What?
Yes.
Yeah. What the heck? Oh, we have two. We have two this month alone.
Yeah,
that's weird. I don't like that.
Yeah. So that means Tori's going to sit down Gurriel Moreno and Marte on Sunday, probably.
We have 3 next month. What is up with all these Monday? Is this new? Is this a brand new thing?
This just means we're not going to have any in like July, August, and September. It's probably
no, like in July we have 1 Monday off. I mean that's the All-Star. So yeah, July we all Monday games in. Yeah, what the that's weird. I don't know. I've just never seen that many Mondays off consistent, like 3 weeks in a row. I believe in
June.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, 3 weeks in a row. Like
5 if you include the first Monday in July.
True. Now we're getting
4. Yeah. 4 in a row there. So this series could go either way. All I ask is just please win the opener.
Just win the series.
Series win would be nice for sure. I'm very curious to see if the Slade dominating continues. He's had his first 2 starts have been phenomenal. Like he's just been really hard to hit. Like he breezes through the first 5. Like he just goes through it like not like no opposition whatsoever. So I'm very curious to see that. I'm really excited for Sunday if it's true that Ryan Nelson is going to start on Sunday, because he was pitching really well too before he got that comebacker and had to miss the last few weeks here. And with Kelly being out, he needs to step up because Kelly and Erod are probably out. Erod, I don't think we've had a real update on that recently, but yeah, we definitely know Kelly's probably out till at least the All-Star break, maybe even August 1st. So Ryan, we need you to step up. We do need someone else to pitch well besides Gallen and Montgomery. Like we need a good third starter.
I'm a little sad Blake Wilson was already sent down. I know he wasn't going to be here for long, but I was a little sad to see he was already sent. I was like, ooh, I could see Blake getting a little more innings, but
so if you look at his stats from yesterday, it doesn't look like he had a good game. Just take out the 3 walks from the 7th inning. I think he pitched really well in his debut. Like, he had 4 walks, but I think he was at like 70 pitches though. Like, he came in the 4th, and he looked really good in the 4th, 5th, and 6th. It's just, I think he was gassed in the 7th.
It's also against the best, like, supposedly the best lineup in baseball. So it wasn't like he was facing against the Rockies or something. Like, these are really hard guys to pitch to, and I think he did pretty good. Like, so and I think it was just a 1 run or whatever they allowed. But for him to come in relief and that quickly too, it's not like he was already like in the bullpen or anything, ready to go. In the 6th or 7th, like they called him in the 4th, and he showed up and he did his job as long as he could until the wheels came off a little bit. But I mean, I don't think he was expecting to go over 3 innings yesterday.
I don't think he was expecting to pitch at all.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even think that he was actually at the game yet, because I'm like, oh, they called him up. And it's funny where he was when he got the call. Brett, do you want to reveal it? Because you're the one that told me.
Oh, yeah. Saw on Twitter, apparently. I mean, it's the most baseball in 2024 thing ever. He was at the roulette table or whatever poker table in Vegas, in Reno, just playing, and he got the phone call. It's like, hey, bud, get your stuff packed. You're gonna need to be in Arizona here in the next few hours.
Yeah, and they probably called Otani and Ipe to go back to Arizona too.
Do you think that was before or after Ipe put his bet on Corbin to win MVP?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Otani didn't even play, right? So he probably was there with Walson and Ipe.
True. Ooh, maybe that's why he got the night off. They were like, "Hey,
Yeah.
we know you're on a little bit of a red eye back. You made yourself a nice. You doubled your salary from this year. Now you made $4 million at the casino. Now you can come on back. Enjoy your time on your day off."
No. I'm just, have you watched this team play and not hit? That's why I'm not biased.
I think it's like whoever like wants to lose it more, probably. I don't think either of them want to win. I think they both of them want to lose, and they're just whoever tries harder to lose.
I think it's going to be genuinely whoever plays the most like fundamentally sound baseball. I know that's the most like no shit thing ever, but I feel like if they can just play clean baseball, good base running, just be aware in the field, all that, and then just have a little bit of some clutch hitting back, I think could be the fire that they need.
So my bold prediction for this, I don't know if it's that bold. Corbin hits a homer in just one of the games. I don't know which one. Just Corbin. I was to say gets his first home run of the year, but he already has one. I had to look it up before I said it, but I think because I think, like Gabe said, I think he's starting to come around. He did raise his average in this series, so progress. Like, I just stop swinging at the first pitch. That's all. If you swung at the first pitch and got hits, I wouldn't care. But you swing at the first pitch and you're getting outs. Would you, because I know he got moved down in the lineup in the last week, would you say him moving down and not having as much pressure is maybe a factor as to why he might be coming out of his little slump?
No, I honestly just think that he just had to work on his mechanics. I honestly think that's all it was. I know people were talking about the shoulder injury, but I literally just think the pitch is adjusted. And then with the way they're calling the balls and strikes, I mean, he's getting balls thrown at his head, and they're calling him for a strike. So it's like, I know he swings at the first pitch a lot, but sometimes that's the only pitch he sees in the actual strike zone. And a lot of his at bats, and it's like he's either gonna take that first pitch or swing at it, because the next ones are gonna be inside out, inside on him, but outside of the actual zone, might get called for a strike because they have been all year, or be way up high, still call for a strike because apparently he's 6'7" or something, because balls at his head are getting called. My prediction, I think it's gonna be Corbin Carroll based too. He's hitting this for the cycle on Saturday because I believe in Corbin Carroll.
I like
Brett?
that. So I agree with you, Gabe. I don't necessarily think it's like with Corbin. I don't think his shoulder, like any health issues, is. I think it's just all mechanical. Like we saw him in the playoffs. There's moments where he was driving the ball just fine. Mine is going to be a little bit of a rerun, kind of like my bold prediction from last time. Last time I predicted that we would, chase Yamamoto. That clearly didn't work. This time we're going to get a cease and desist on Dylan Cease.
Bold. He's actually looked really good. That trade's looking really good for San Diego. I think the thing with Carroll, if you notice, he gets pitched up and in so much. Like, I think that's a lot of teams like that's what they found out. That's where his weak spot is. And I think he's finally starting to adjust to it. I think that's the big thing. So, because most guys up and in, yeah, you're gonna tie them up, because you gotta pull your hands in so quick to hit that high and in fastball. So, I would, yeah, I just want to see progress. It doesn't need to be a big jump. Like, he doesn't need to start going like 3 for 4 for a week straight. But I'm like, just continue to get hits, have good at bats, or get on base, because we know most of the time if you get on first, you're gonna turn it into a double. You're gonna steal. That is one thing that he still do. Like, he still has 7 stolen bases. Which, if you just look at the amount of hits that he has, that's actually really impressive. Like, he's not on base that much, but he's still near the top in stolen bases. That's how deadly he is. So yeah, hopefully when we come back on Sunday, we're talking about a series win. It would be really, really great, because it puts me in a better mood. So if this is your first time on the channel, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss any of our future content. We do series recaps for the Arizona Diamondbacks. It's a nice, fun show. Until next time, I'll see you all later.